From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, March the 6th, 2019. A resolution against anti-Semitism will apparently not be presented and voted on today in the U.S. House of Representatives. We reported to you yesterday that House Democrats were working on the resolution in the wake of highly offensive comments made by Minnesota Democratic lawmaker Ilhan Omar, suggesting that members of Congress who supported Israel had dual loyalty. Jewish groups welcomed the news of the resolution against anti-Semitism. B'nai B'rith International said accusing Jews of having more allegiance to a foreign government or to their own religion is a long-standing, dangerous, and malicious anti-Semitic trope aimed at undermining Jews' integration into their societies. The American Jewish Committee's Associate Executive Director for Policy, Jason Isaacson, said conspiracy theories, age-old slanders, accusations of disloyalty, none is acceptable. We call on members, he said, of Congress across the political spectrum to join in rejecting hate. And early this morning, U.S. Ambassador to Israel David Friedman asked on Twitter when, as now, anti-Semitism is front and center in the halls of Congress, why can't it be called out and rejected without qualification? Well, today lawmakers are said to still be working on the language of the resolution, which may reportedly be broadened to also reject other forms of bigotry like Islamophobia. The vote is expected to take place on the legislation sometime later this week. Well, after a heated debate, two members of the Otzma Yehudit party were voted to be allowed to run for office in Israel's upcoming elections this April. There were petitions against Michael Ben-Ari and Itamar Ben-Gvir for their party's extremist views, but by a one-vote margin, a ban against their participation in the elections was voted down. Yesterday, Israel's Attorney General Avichai Mandelblit gave his support to a petition against Ben-Ari's candidacy. Otzma's leaders are students of the late Rabbi Meir Kahane, whose Kach party was outlawed from the Knesset over its extremist views and incitement to violence. And last month, Otzma merged with the Jewish Home Party, which means that if Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is reelected, members of Otzma could potentially enter the Knesset. But first, an appeal against the election committee's approval today of Ben-Ari and Ben-Gvir will go before Israel's Supreme Court. At least 3 incendiary devices made of balloons and explosives were sent from Gaza over the security fence into southern Israel today, detonating in the Eshkol Regional Council. No damage or injury was caused. This follows several similar devices flown into the area yesterday, after which the IDF said their aircraft struck a number of terror targets in a Hamas military compound in Gaza last night. Well, the mayor of a city in Belgium where an offensive float was part of a carnival parade is defending the display. Christophe Das said that Sunday's float at the Aalst Carnival should be allowed. As we reported to you, the float, which was titled Shabbat Year, included giant puppets of Orthodox Jews standing on gold coins with bags of money at their feet. The Vismulian group, who created the display, told a Belgian blogger they chose the images to address rising prices in Belgium, seeming to suggest that Jews were responsible for those economic troubles. Well, Jewish groups in Europe and here in the U.S. voiced their outrage, including the European Commission, which is the executive branch of the EU, who said it is unthinkable that such imagery is being paraded on European streets 70 years after the Holocaust. But Mayor Dasa told Het Laatste News on Monday that it's not up to the mayor to forbid such displays and that the carnival participants had no sinister intentions. The Jewish Federation of Greater Pittsburgh released a report yesterday saying that over $6.3 million was raised in the wake of the deadly Tree of Life shooting attack last October in the city. The majority of the funds will go to the families of the 11 worshipers who were murdered and to those who were injured in the attack, with money also going towards construction for the synagogue, as well as to a memorial for those killed and for an education initiative. Money has also been set aside for police officers that were injured in the attack. The Federation's report said that no amount of money can compensate for the loss of a loved one's life. No amount of money can fully compensate for a life that has been violently knocked off course and suddenly filled with unanticipated and daunting obstacles, and no amount of money can ever completely heal our hearts or our communities. The fund, which closed at the end of February, took in donations from across the United States and from at least 8 countries abroad. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Wednesday, March the 6th. At 7 o'clock, it's from the Aleph Bet. At 7:40, Charles Jacobs talks about defending Israel. At 8, it's a discussion of Jewish and Catholic perspectives on gun control with Tobias Winwright and Rabbi Joel Mosbacher. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with criminal law attorney and U.S. constitutional scholar Jay Goldberg, who talks about his career as both prosecutor and defense attorney in some of the nation's most high-profile cases. At 10:30, Israeli mentalist Lior Suchard performs. And coming up right after this newscast tonight, it's Thinking Out Loud with Micah Halpern. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, March the 6th, 2019. I'm Teisha Bader.